Hola!
Hola!
Bienvenidos a LightSpeed Spanish.
Bienvenidos!
And today we are continuing on with our early intermediate. This is number 2.
Number 2.
And this is ordering drinks in a Spanish bar. Ole.
Ole y ole.
Pues hablamos de todo en la segunda parte. Now, Cynthia, let's start with the basics
Okay.
of going into a bar. First thing that's important is, in comparison, for example, if you, I don't know what happens in the US, but in the UK, if you order a drink in the UK, you pay for it.
Okay, you know what? Let's start from the very beginning.
Uh-huh.
When you go to the door
Okay.
and you can see tire or empuje.
Pull or push.
Exactly. Tire,
Or pull, yeah.
tire, empuje, push.
Okay.
Empujar sounds like push, doesn't it? Empuje.
Yeah.
Tire.
Tire.
Okay. No, I just thought.
Okay.
I just visualized myself.
When you see those signs telling you to do something, it's always in usted, or typically.
And it's a
usted.
command.
And it's a command.
Yeah, so the verb would be tirar de la puerta y empujar la puerta. That would be the infinitive, but it's in a command tense.
Tense, yeah.
And in usted.
So tirar de something, pull of something, yeah. Okay, so now
But
when
not
you go
pull
into a
something
bar,
off.
pull something off. To pull something, go into a bar to pull. No, you have to pull to go into a bar. When you walk into a Spanish bar,
Yes.
small one, what's the first thing you're going to do?
Greet my friends.
You can say, typically going to say, hola, buenos dias.
Hola, buenos días.
It's
Hola,
very
buenas
typical.
tardes. Yes.
The people who were sitting there, you're going to greet them as you do whenever you walk into any place, even a supermarket. People still greet the cashiers and things like that.
Yeah. Well, it depends if it's not full or completely full.
Yeah.
If it's not full, if it's just a few people sitting or at the bar, you walk in and not to be awkward, you say, hola, buenas. And, it's like, it's not as awkward when you walk in.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very common to say hello. And I don't have that custom in the UK.
No, it's true.
And it was embarrassing at the beginning, but now if I don't do it, it's embarrassing.
And it's funny because it's embarrassing for me in the UK when I walk in and people look at you, because, when somebody comes in, you look, and you don't say anything. It's like, I don't know. It's weird, isn't it? Like,
How cold. That's why they call this Los Frios, yeah, because we don't say hello.
but it's just nice to say, hola, buenas,
Yeah.
in general,
Very Spanish. So, right, so you go in, you go up to the bar. We're going to do
Yeah.
ordering a drink at the bar.
Okay.
What is the best little expression you can use when you're asking for a drink at the bar?
In Spain, the most common one would be me pone, and then whatever you want. Me pone un café con leche, por favor. Me pone una cerveza. Me pone un whatever.
Yeah. And do you know what's really important about this? Because we're going to give you 3 very little expressions that you can use everywhere, but in bars and restaurants. Me pone, this is not a command. Okay, it's a question.
It's a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Me pone, which is usted, polite, will you put me? And if you notice that when Cynthia said it, she said, me pone una cerveza, por favor. Right? So there's no, because some people think, the Spanish people just tell you what they want and there's no please. It's quite nice to put a por favor at the end.
It is fair to say that sometimes we miss the please out. I mean, you can't say, and some people do say, me pone una cerveza, por favor. Some people just say, me pone una cerveza. It depends on the moment. But because we're using usted, it's already formal and it's already nice.
Polite.
So we wouldn't need to say por favor, although it is nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's nicer if you say
Sure.
por favor, but you don't need it because it's already in the formality of the question.
Sure. And obviously you don't, some people who get to know the barman and everything, they'll go in and they'll say, me pones.
Exactly.
And they'll use tú. All right, and that's fine. But if you listen to the tonality when Cynthia's saying it, me pone una cerveza, it's a nice tonality. It's like, can you put me a drink, please?
Yeah, this is a fair thing to address, because lots of people, when particularly beginners in early intermediate, when they learn Spanish and they translate from English with all of the would you, could you, do you mind, and in Spanish we don't tend to say it that way. We're more direct when we ask questions. When you translate it into English, it sounds a bit harsh. It sounds a bit like too direct for the way you do it. Because you don't have usted, you don't have other means, but because we do have usted, or you use tonality more than maybe you do, we don't need to be so sweet.
Sweet, yeah. Beat around the bush.
Extra nice.
Yeah, because we at the beginning we learned, podría ponerme una cerveza, por favor, ¿sabes? Cuando pueda usted. And that's very, they're a lot more direct here in Spain.
Yes.
But polite as well, and it's acceptable. So it's polite because it's acceptable. Yeah, that's the way that
we're warmer with fewer words.
Yeah,
we don't need, and it could sound if you translate. So it happens the other way around as well. If I translate directly from English to Spanish, and somebody would talk to me that way, I would find it. Sometimes I would find it false. Like, why are you being overly
like pretentious?
Yeah, like pretentious or false. Like somebody, they want something from you. That's why they're being so
what
nice.
Are they after?
They're not familiar.
So nice,
they're not being familiar. They're being, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
okay,
it's a cultural thing, I suppose.
So in Spain, when you order a drink, they're not going to ask you to pay for it unless you're in a bar where it's one of those bars where they have to. But normally in a smaller bar, you're not going to be asked to pay for it. If you're at the bar or if you're at the table, they're not going to ask you to pay for it. Okay, you get the
in the
bill
moment
afterwards. Yeah. They will ask you to pay for it eventually. Eventually.
What? Eventually.
However, at the bar, right, you've ordered, you say, me pone un café, por favor, un café con leche. And you want another one. What do you say?
Me pone otro café, por favor. Me pone otro café.
Otro café. O me pone otra cerveza,
Otra.
por favor. O me pone otro cubata.
Eso es.
Whatever it is, yeah. Okay. Then you've finished and you want the bill. Right, when you're at the bar, you're not going to say la cuenta, por favor. Okay?
Not like you wouldn't say in English the bill for a coffee.
Yeah.
You wouldn't, would you?
What you have to say at the bar is literally, will you charge me? Will you charge me?
You could say me cobra.
Me cobra.
Me cobra. Will you charge me? Using usted. Or if you want to use tú because you know the person or you feel more familiar, me cobras. So just add an S. Me cobras.
Yeah.
Or another option is to say cuánto es. How much is it?
Nice and simple.
Or
Cuánto
another
es?
option. ¿Qué le debo? How much do I owe you? ¿Qué le debo?
Que le debo. And if it was tú, it would be que te debo.
Eso
But
es.
that's the secret for me is if the more simple it is, the less stress that we're going to have.
That's
Okay.
true.
After you've had 7 lagers, you don't care anything. But at the beginning, it's stressful. So, me pone is will you give me? Will you
Will you put
yeah?
me? Yeah.
Me cobra, will you charge me what I owe? Okay. And there's another one as well, which applies to lots of other situations, which is me da, will you give me? Right? So, me pone, me cobra, me da, they're absolutely fantastic because that's all you need. With a por favor afterwards, you're sorted. You can get just about everything you want as long as you know what you want to ask for, obviously.
Eso es.
Get your dictionary out. How do you say...
It's typically beer.
Beer.
Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. Typically beer. And just so you know, cerveza here in Spain is lager. Okay, in UK you've got a zillion choices of what you can have. The pumps that you're going to see in Spain, there might be various pumps, but they all give you lager.
And talking about pronunciation, because we did it last week, very common mistake. Unless you're in the south of Spain, we say cerveza.
Cerveza. Yeah.
Yeah, in some areas in the south, they also say cerveza. Or cerveza. In the south of Spain. In the rest of Spain, we say cerveza.
Yeah. The standard pronunciation is
Yeah,
cerveza.
eso es.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously you can say it, me pone una cerveza, or you can ask specifically for the kind of thing that you want, whether it's a bottle, just quickly. The bottles, botellín, no?
Un botellín.
Un botellín, little one, because they don't drink big quantities. And then you've got things like un tercio.
Un tercio.
Un tercio is it's as small as glass you can get really of beer, isn't it? Un
To be
tercio.
honest, I don't really know. Because
Yeah.
I don't drink, and I don't drink beer either, so...
Pints are not common.
We don't have pints. You can get jarra.
Una
If you
jarra.
want something big, you can get una jarra, and that's typically what people order in the summer.
In the summer when they're really
Una
thirsty.
jarra,
yeah.
and the jug is cold. Usually it's icy
I have a
cold.
machine where they go and it fills it full of ice, and then they fill up the thing.
Yeah.
Una
Una jarra.
But that's not typical. If you go to a bar, you won't typically see all the men drinking jarras. They have tercios, so a small drink, the like frequency and very small amounts, rather than massive quantities of beer.
Eso es.
Bueno, entonces, eso es todo, ¿no?
Eso es todo.
Eso es todo. Gracias por pasar un ratito con nosotros. All of these videocasts come with help sheets as well, with longer explanations and also with some homework. So you'll find the details in the video information.
Muy bien,
Pues
Gordon.
ahora nos vamos.
Y nos vemos.
Hasta luego, adiós.
Adiós.